So today I'm going to be giving you my first impressions on the brand new Dolce & Gabbana The One Luminous Night. So this is another one of their exclusive edition fragrances, as you can see right there on the front of the box. They have three of them, including this one. They have the One Royal Night, they have the One Mysterious Night, and then now they have the One Luminous Night. So I have a feeling right off the bat, this is going to be one that is normally going to be higher priced on discounters. Dolce & Gabbana The One Gray, Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum, you can get those for around $50, even a little bit less than $50 on discounters. But ones like Mysterious Night and Royal Night are usually going to be pushing $70, $80, even in upwards of $90 depending on the bottle size at discounters. Those exclusive ones are always going to be more expensive, so I would say right off the bat, this one here is going to be lumped into that same price bracket. Unfortunately, this one is not yet available on discounters. I did purchase this one at full retail plus like $40 shipping from Harrods, so it was not cheap to pick up, but I wanted to get my hands on it. I've really been craving a Dolce & Gabbana The One flanker that was actually really worthwhile for me, because the One Eau de Parfum Intense really let me down. And of course, I'm talking about this guy right here. With a name like the One Eau de Parfum Intense, I was expecting yet an even more strong version of the One Eau de Parfum, which in and of itself is a bestseller. Unfortunately, this one here smells nothing like the One Eau de Parfum. It completely takes away that tobacco amber type of mixture there and replaces it with ISO E Super, cashmere, and really just a bunch of aroma chemicals, a little bit of cardamom as well. It's not really my favorite, but it is good in the compliments category, just the mass appeal department. That's really what they were catering towards, and they did a good job at it with that. So I'm hoping, being that this one is an exclusive, it's going to be better. And also looking at the note breakdown, it seems pretty promising so far. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one out of the box, spray it on for the first time, and let you guys know what I think of it. So here's a look at the bottle. Got a nice deep dark blue color to it, nice golden colored cap. You can see on the front we have kind of a golden color lettering to match the cap. Pretty reminiscent of the other exclusive editions from the line. Very classy and nice looking presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and pop the cap off of this one and give it a spray. Again, other than taking a brief look at the note breakdown, I really don't know what this one's going to smell like. So I'm excited, I'm curious. Hopefully this one won't be a bit of a letdown like the Eau de Parfum Intense was. Let's give it a couple good sprays here for good measure, and let's see what we have. So it does open up very warm, very sweet. Immediately coming through is a bit of a spiciness here. Not really quite sure if it's cardamom, but it is a nice sexy spiciness. A little bit of a smoky touch is coming through, and overall a bit of a sweetness, also a touch of a mintiness. Kind of a cooling, refreshing mintiness, kind of similar to something like, for example, Parfums de Marly Layton has. Whereas when you smell Layton, you get this kind of refreshing menthol type of feeling and smell when you smell the fragrance. I'm not saying that this smells like Layton, but they both have a similar feeling. So I'm going to go ahead and read the note breakdown off to you. Up top, we have black pepper, basil, and bergamot. In the mid, we have dates, geranium, and sage. And in the base, we have sandalwood, incense, and amber. So for me, a lot of that makes sense. That minty freshness is most likely coming from the geranium. Again, if you're someone who is really experienced a lot of aromatic fougères, barbershop type of fragrances, you'll know that a lot of them use geranium, which gives off this kind of green minty type of smell. And I do get that kind of cooling freshness coming from this fragrance, and that would probably be coming from the geranium, maybe a little bit of that basil mixing in as well. Obviously, that spicy kick is going to be coming from the black pepper right off the top. And I would say that sweetness is going to be coming from the dates, the amber, and the incense. Again, it's a little bit smoky, it's a little bit sweet, it's a slight bit powdery. It just opens up smelling very nice, very addictive, and very sexy. And I will say, one thing that it did slightly remind me of right off the top when I first sprayed it was a kind of sweet powderiness comparable to something like Halloween Man X. And that's going to be just a very, very vague comparison. This doesn't really smell all that much like Halloween Man X at all, so I don't want to, make any sort of false assumptions there. But the way the sweetness came across the way a little bit of a spiciness came through, a little bit of a warm powderiness came through, kind of reminded me of how something like Halloween Man X would open up with. Again, that one does have the coffee, the tonka bean. This one doesn't have either of those notes, but just the way everything played together. The black pepper, the minty geranium, the smoky incense and amber. You get quite a bit of a contrast from a spicy, slightly green opening. Immediately following that is a warmer, kind of darker, smokier base underneath that. It's a really nice kind of contrast there, and it's a really nice counterbalance. For me, primarily what I'm picking up here the most is going to be the amber and the incense and the sandalwood here as it's starting to dry down. You still do get a little bit of that cooling effect. Maybe a bit of a spiciness is still in there. But for me, I would say this is primarily centered around that amber and that incense. And that, to me, is perfect because that kind of circles back to Dolce & Gabbana the One Eau de Toilette, where it all started. There's no incense, but there is tobacco and, of course, amber. And that incense here is kind of alluding to a bit of a smoky, kind of ashy tobacco like you would get from the Eau de Toilette and Eau de Parfum. Of course, still very smooth and very well-rounded. Does smell awesome to die for. I would say that this one here is really impressing me so far. Now, this one is going to be following that original DNA a bit more than some of the other flankers, for example, the One Gray, Gentleman, Sport, so on, and, kind of falls in line with just the One EDT, EDP, and also Royal Night a little bit. Royal Night takes away that tobacco and any sort of smokiness and just kind of amps up the amber a little bit more in the woods. This one kind of is like the Royal Night, but just with an incense in there, a little bit of a minty green opening as well, and of course the black pepper. It just kind of has that sort of thing going on. So really for me, I find this one to be, quite a nice variation away from the Eau de Parfum of Dolce & Gabbana, the One, which is a masterpiece, one of the best date night fragrances. This one here is giving you a little bit of a oriental kind of spicy type of mix up on that, and just a lot more emphasis on the amber and on the nice unique date notes that are in here as well. And again, for me, a lot of this is just almost a little bit more of a slightly mintier green, brighter variation of the One Eau de Parfum. Just off the top, right off the tester strip there. That's kind of what I'm getting from this one. It still does have a lot of that sweetness, but just with a little bit of a geranium in there. And I think that was very well done, very strategically placed in this fragrance. I don't think they just threw in geranium just to throw it in there. The same with sage and the basil. I think that was thrown in there just to give it a little bit of a green twist, and I think it works really well. On skin, it opens up a bit more sweet, creamy, and much more green, kind of powdery. I have to say, this one here, right off the bat, first impressions, is beautiful. Fantastic job on this one. Going to be one of my favorites so far from the line, and that's including everything. Of course, as of right now, it's not going to take over the original and the Eau de Parfum in terms of my favorites. But if we're talking about liking it more than the One Gray and even the One Royal Night, I would say this one's up there pretty far. I love that basil touch. I love that geranium touch. Just a nice green twist, but still tying back to that sexy, warm, inviting, smoky DNA of the original and the Eau de Parfum. Well done on this one. When this one hits discounters and you can get it a bit knocked off of retail, still not going to be super cheap, I would imagine, like the One EDT and the One EDP, which is borderlining cheapy price depending on what the deals are running, $50 and under. I mean, you're getting down there pretty low. If you can get this one for around, $75, $80, $85, I would say this one's not going to be a bad pickup. Really nice, kind of sticky, sweet, sexy fragrance here. Another one that's going to be perfect for a date night. That's kind of what this line and what this DNA is known for. So guys, I think that's going to do it for me. That's my first impressions on the One Luminous Night by Dolce & Gabbana. Another one of their exclusive fragrances. Again, I have a feeling this is not going to be that inexpensive and that accessible like I've talked about before. The One Gray, for example, a flanker that you can get for, what, $40, $45 or somewhere around in there, even a little bit less for a 100 ml, maybe even a tester as well. That's pushing cheapy territory for a Dolce & Gabbana, which is a very prestigious brand. you can get that one for that price. This one's probably not going to fall around into there, but if you could scoop this one up for the same price as the other exclusive Dolce & Gabbana The One flankers, I think this one will be a solid pickup, and you will definitely see a full review coming up on the channel at some point. And once this one hits discounters, you'll probably see this one popping up in some top 10s as well. So guys, that's going to do it for me. That's my first impressions on Dolce & Gabbana The One Luminous Night. Let me know if you're excited for this one. How do you think it's going to compare to the other flankers? Make sure you leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.